Hi and welcome to this episode of North London TV. I'm Roseanne.
I'm Steve.
North London TV is a social media programme looking at all the best bits of North London. Coming up in today's programme.
We've got the big interview. Roseanne's down at Amber Hair Salon. Then we're talking property and when is the right time to buy a property. Then we're off to Stone Wines to talk about champagne. And then we're doing an area guide on East Finchley. So Roseanne's been getting her hair done. I find every time we're doing this show, you're going to get your hair done or drinking.
It's the perks of the job.
Well, let's see what you got up to at Amber Hair.
So today I'm here with Talina Thakura, who's the owner and founder of Amber Blow Dry in Mill Hill. Hi there.
Hello.
Thanks very much for joining us today.
No worries, my pleasure.
So tell me a little about you and Amber Blow Dry.
So I started my career in economics and finance and knew eventually that I wanted to go in business, but I wasn't quite sure what. And then in 2015, I visited America in a similar space to Amber and absolutely fell in love with it. So I decided to bring Amber to North London because we didn't have a space like this. I wanted to create an environment that makes women and girls of all ages feel really special. And yeah, that's basically what brought Amber here.
So when did you open the salon and why did you choose the area that you chose?
So I opened the salon in July 2017. And we chose Mill Hill because I'm originally from North London myself, grown up here. So through and through North London girl. And we didn't really have a space like this where there was an area just focusing solely on blow dries and styling. And so I thought Mill Hill would be a great place to start that.
And what sort of services do you offer?
We started off by offering blow dries and styling services. And then as time went on, we decided to expand our service offering, especially after COVID. There was a high client demand for cutting and colouring services. So we're now basically doing all sorts of hair services.
So if you're going out on a Saturday night and you just want, you know, curled or straightened or just an updo, you know, you're the place to come.
Absolutely. Curling, straightening, Brazilian blow dries, hair colouring, anything hair related, where the people come to.
So how, you know, looking back, you opened in 2017, you know, obviously we've had, unfortunately, the pandemic since then.
Yes.
People couldn't go anywhere, they couldn't have their hair done, they couldn't have their hair cut. How did you cope during that period?
So during the pandemic, it was extremely difficult because obviously there were a number of people who wanted services, but we couldn't provide those services. And so it was quite painful to incur those financial losses. But I think post-COVID, we could bring those services to the customers. There was a greater appreciation for our offering because so many people were hungry for those services. So in that way, it was really nice to come back after COVID. But no, during COVID, it was definitely very difficult.
And you're in the heart of Mill Hill Broadway.
Yes.
You know, it's a buzzy high street with lots of other shops. You know, there are other hair salons. You know, what sets you apart?
I think first things is our aesthetic. We don't really look like your typical hair salon. We're quite mild coloured, more like a bar theme. We offer Prosecco on arrival pre-COVID, and we will bring it back shortly as well. But it's more about the vibe, about making women and girls of all ages, you know, feel really welcome and really good.
So you have younger girls here as well?
Oh, absolutely. We've got young girls coming in from 2 all the way to teenagers, young mums, middle-aged women, older ladies. It's just a space for everyone.
And how has it benefited you being based in Mill Hill?
Mill Hill is such a buzzing high street. It's very trendy. We've got some great local businesses in the area. So I just wouldn't change anything. And accessibility into central London is really easy as well. So whilst we have a lot of local customers, we also have customers who come in from all around. And it's just a really nice space to be in.
How do you see the business sort of developing from here on?
So we'll take a day as it comes. I think we still have to get out of the COVID situation and see how things go with that. But in the future, we'd love to turn Amber into a franchise and expand into potentially different North London areas.
I'm sure that would work out brilliantly.
For sure.
Well, best of luck with that.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem. And now we're back to the studio.
So your hair looks lovely, Roseanne.
Thanks.
See,
I learned some stuff from her.
Good to hear.
Anyway, so that was my trip to Amber Blow Dry, and now we're moving on to our property feature. And this time, Steve's going to be talking about when's the best time to buy.
So one of the most asked questions I always get is when is the best time to buy a property? The honest answer is now. You know, people think and procrastinate. I know people who years and years ago were ready to buy a 3-bed house and now can only afford a 2-bedroom flat. Prices will always go up, the property market will always be strong. And the longer you wait trying to find that perfect property, the longer those prices are going to be higher and higher, and it's going to be even harder to get on the property market. For anyone watching this who's thinking and considering and, you know, thinking, should I, shouldn't I? My honest answer is just do it. People waste so much money in rent. You know, you could be looking at a 2-bedroom flat around North London where you're spending £1,500 a month. The reality is you could be borrowing maybe £300,000-400,000 on interest-only mortgage for that same sort of money, if not even more of a mortgage. So don't waste your money on someone else's rent. Spend the money on building your property, looking after your property, and being a homeowner. Because being a homeowner is most people's dreams, and the longer you procrastinate, the less likely it's going to happen.
That's really interesting. So basically your main message is don't wait, buy.
Yeah, I think so many people hesitate and they give the excuses and wait and wait and wait. But, you know, there's no time like now.
So if you find the property you like, go for it.
Yeah, I think people can overthink it as well. I think people are looking for this perfect dream property. You know, and like with everything in life, you can always find a negative if you're looking for it.
Yeah, true. So what's next then?
Next, you've been drinking again, haven't you?
Yes, but my favourite, I think, this time.
Oh, you're on the champers.
I am.
Perfect.
Who doesn't like some bubbles?
So let's go back to Stone Wines and see Roseanne trying out champagne.
I'm back at Stone Wines in Whetstone in North London with Riaz, its owner, to talk about two of my favourite drinks, Prosecco and Champagne. Hi Riaz. So what do we have here?
Well, we just happen to have one of each. So we've a Prosecco, we've a Champagne, we also have a Secret hiding at the back here. So people love Prosecco because it's light, it's fresh, gently fruity. Champagne, sometimes our feelings about champagne are, well, it's more expensive, maybe it's only for a special occasion. But champagne is a great wine and it pairs brilliantly with food. If you're looking at your waistline, it also has a much lower sugar content.
Oh.
So a normal Prosecco, this is an extra dry, around about 15 grams of sugar per litre. A Champagne, and this is a Brut, is around about 7 grams of sugar per litre. So it's a lighter, fresher drink, even though we associate lightness, freshness with Prosecco. Now the other big difference is the way these drinks are made. Prosecco is made in a tank. So it goes through 2 fermentations, but it's a very quick method. Often the grapes are harvested in the summer, and by the end of the year, Prosecco is ready to drink. Champagne is a completely different ball game. So here, the grapes are harvested, they make a wine at the beginning, but then the cuvée, which is the word we use for juice, undergoes a second fermentation. Now that second fermentation takes place in the bottle, and for champagnes there's a minimum period that you need to age a wine for. Now this wine is from Castelnau, and they age their wines for 5 and 6 years. So that process is very labour intensive, it costs them quite a lot to do, and therefore what you're paying for is a wine where the production costs are much higher.
So if I were to ask you the question, Champagne versus Prosecco, which one would you choose?
Well, it would depend on the occasion. If I want something just to have on a summer's afternoon, I'd probably go for a Prosecco. But if I'm pairing it with food, it's Champagne every time.
As Prosecco is so popular, are there any other alternatives these days to
Well,
the
okay,
Prosecco?
yeah, you know, well, you've spotted what I was hiding at the back. Now, this here is from a winery called Chateau Moncontour. Now, I don't know much about the chateau, but I know about the region. It's from the Loire, so we are west of the Champagne region, and they use a similar method. It's called the traditional method. So they use 2 fermentations, the second one is in the bottle. Their period of fermentation isn't as long as champagne, so generally you'll find something that's around about 18 months aging. But what you find is you get a wine that tastes much closer to a champagne, but in terms of price is much closer to a Prosecco.
That's a great tip. Well, if you're looking to explore your sparkling wines this summer, why don't you try one of these? Thanks very much, Riaz.
Thanks, Roseanne.
And now it's back to the studio.
You look like you had fun there, Roseanne.
I like champagne.
Do you think you've got a drinking problem, or is it just this programme?
It was just a taste. It was just worth doing to find out a bit more about the
So
drink.
I wasn't there when you filmed, but I got told you had to retake that about 27 times.
I had to make sure everything tasted correct, and like the different champagnes all tasted
Such
nice.
a professional.
I know. And finally, it's our area guide, and we're joining Layla again to talk about East Finchley.
East Finchley is a traditional North London suburb, a stone throw away from central London, surrounded by Finchley, Highgate and Hampstead. It has a high street running through it, including lots of independent shops, restaurants, gastropubs and cafes. It has great transport links, including the Northern Line and bus routes. By road, you're minutes away from the A1, the A41, the North Circular and the M1. East Finchley has excellent primary and secondary schools, has lots of local attractions including the Phoenix Cinema and Kenwood House. A 3-bedroom house would cost you between £600,000 to £1.5 million. And a 2-bedroom flat would range between £300,000 to £3.8 million.
I like East Finchley. I think it's a really underrated area.
Yeah, I don't think people realise how close it is to Hampstead Garden suburbs, and actually, technically argue the Bishop's Avenue is bordering East Finchley. So yeah, it's a lovely place to live, and schools are good, transport good.
Yeah,
it's
got the high street running through it,
and it's not a cheap place to live.
No, it's not, but it's nice. So that's it for this time. If you are a local business looking to get involved and want to appear on North London TV, then please contact us on the details below. Thanks for everyone that took part in this episode, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.